Hi, Sean Michael Andrews here, and I'm happy to say I'll be presenting again at the Hypnothoughts Live in Las Vegas in August of 2019. As one of the presenters, I've received a challenge from Scott Sandland called the 3-Ha Challenge. Just to review, this is the way it works. This recording will be of 3 stories. The first one is a ha-ha story, as in something that's embarrassing, an embarrassing story about me. The second story will be an aha story, as in something important that I've learned. And the third will be a Yee-Ha story, which is something that I'm very excited about. All right, let's start with the embarrassing story. Now, for those of you who don't know me very well, I'm an introvert. I try to hide it, but I'm very introverted. I had a pretty sheltered childhood, went to Catholic school. I embarrass very easily. And this embarrassing story actually involves Scott Sandland. Years ago, I was doing research into using hypnosis for pain management. And one of the projects I worked on was a hypnosis for tattoo. In other words, I would hypnotize people and take away the discomfort that they would feel when they were getting tattooed. And that worked really well. So I went looking for another project, and I stumbled upon electrolysis. Now, for those of you who don't know, electrolysis has been around since the time of the American Civil War. And here's the way it works. If you could imagine, if you had an eyelash and it was growing out like not the right way, and it would continuously irritate your eye, you can imagine how that would drive you crazy. Now, back during the 1860s, the only thing they could do would be pluck the eyelash out, but then it would grow back the same way and cause irritation again. So they hit upon this idea where they would take a very fine wire or needle, and they would take it and put it into the pore from which the hair grows, and then zap it with some electricity, either some alternating current or some direct current. And this would cause a chemical reaction in the root of the hair, which would, an acid would form. It kills the root of the hair, and then they just pull it out with tweezers, and it doesn't grow back again. In fact, it's the only permanent method of removing hair. If you use a laser, it can sometimes grow back, but this is a permanent way to get rid of a hair. So anyway, I had a friend who was an electrologist. She's one of the people who does electrolysis. And most of her clients were ladies that would come in, to get their legs done or to maybe the upper lip or something like that. And it's great work, and it's permanent. So anyway, my friend and I started a project to take away the pain of electrolysis, because you can imagine when you zap that pore with electricity, it's uncomfortable. So what we would do is I would come into her office. She'd already have the patient on the table under a drape, and I would explain hypnosis, hypnotize the patient, deepen her, give her suggestions that she wouldn't feel any discomfort. Even the sound of the zapping would actually take her deeper into hypnosis. And then I would tell her that at the end of the procedure, Marcia would count from 1 to 5, and when she reached the number 5, the patient's eyes would open, and she'd feel wonderful, and she wouldn't feel any discomfort during that. Okay, so I worked on probably a couple dozen of her patients, and we were getting really good results with it. Now, here's something that maybe you never thought about, but have you ever, say, been stung by a bee or banged your hand on a side of a table or something, and what you do is you naturally rub that area? Do you know why you do that? Well, it's something called the gateway theory of pain. And the idea is that, you see, the pain goes from the injured spot to your brain, and that's when you feel pain. But when we rub an area that we've just injured, you see, that's a good feeling, the rubbing, and the good feeling overrides the bad feeling and keeps the bad feeling from reaching your brain, and that way you don't feel pain or as much. So I talked with Scott Sandland, who's actually one of the best in the business, I think, in pain management. And I told him what I was doing with the tattoo parlors and with the electrolysis. And he said he was working on a theory called a pleasure push. And he said the idea would be that you hypnotize them and you suggest to them that they'll know that an area is being worked on, so they will feel a sensation, but the sensation would be a pleasurable sensation, not a pain sensation. And so therefore, no pain, right? No discomfort. So it seemed like he called it a pleasure push. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty smart. I'm going to try that. So, as I say, I'd been working with about a couple dozen patients, and we were getting really good results with it. So I came and knocked on the door, and Marcia invited me in. The patient was on the table and draped, and Marcia was preparing her instruments, her zapping instruments. And so I introduced myself, explained hypnosis. So I hypnotized her and I deepened her, and I told her that in the area that was getting done, she wouldn't feel anything except for a pleasurable feeling. All she would feel was a pleasurable feeling coming from the area that the work was being done. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye that the lady on the table smiled, which is not unusual because hypnosis feels good, right? So people smile sometimes. But then the more I talked about the pleasurable feeling, being, just increasing, the bigger her smile got. And then all of a sudden, it just hit me, and I blushed. I mean, I'll bet you she could feel the heat coming off of my face when I blushed, because it hit me. She's not having her upper lip done. She was getting her bikini area done. And I stuttered, and I said, well, and now when the procedure is over, Marcia's going to count from 1 to 5. When she reaches the number 5, your eyes are going to open, you're going to feel wonderful, and I'll see you later. And I left. So, thank you, Scott Sandland. That is my embarrassing story, and I want to thank you for your advice on the pleasure push. Worked really great. Thanks, Scott. Okay, now, my aha story. Something that I learned that was a revelation to me. And this is also several years ago, and it actually has to do with pain management. Michael Elner, who left us recently, taught me something that I made a big difference in the way I work with pain management. And the issue was that, well, pain management, for those of you who don't already work with it, is one of the most rewarding areas that a hypnotist can work in. I mean, when you can take away someone's pain, you can change someone's life. Ron Esslinger, another pain expert with hypnosis, he used to say that, probably he still does, that pain is soul stealing, and it is. So as a hypnotist, when you can take away pain, you can give someone their life back. So anyway, I told Michael that I was having pretty good success working with pain, but I wasn't always successful. Sometimes I was only able to help a bit. And this is the aha thing that he gave me. He said, what you do is ask them what percentage of this pain that you can take away that would make a big difference in their life. And he says, just whatever answer they give you is the right answer. So they may say 30%. If you can take away 30% of my pain, I'll be able to clean my house, I'll be able to play with my children, I'll be able to go shopping. If you can take away 30% of my pain, that's going to really give me back my life. Then you go for 100%, all right, which you may very well get. But if you only get 40 or 50% of it, you succeeded. You feel successful, your client feels successful, and their life has changed for the better. So that was my aha moment. And that changed the way I worked with pain. So, and the third is my Yee-Ha moment, something that I'm very excited about. And what I'm very excited about is that the Street Hypnosis pre-conference class has been accepted. So I will be teaching street hypnosis in Las Vegas in August on the Tuesday and Wednesday before the Hypnothoughts convention starts, before the conference starts. So if you want to learn street hypnosis, if you want to learn how to do killer demonstrations, if you want to be able to do impromptu hypnosis and learn that a couple days before the rest of the people come to Hypnothoughts, so you'll be ready for them, ready and waiting, right? If you want to learn that, then go to the website and sign up, because this class is usually pretty full. So that's my Yee-Ha. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in Las Vegas.